Have you ever had it that you shared how you're feeling and the other person really doesn't take it well and there's a discussion going on or some problems going on? In this video, we talk about why that is and how you can start sharing authentically from a sharing perspective rather than projecting onto the other person. If this is the first time that we meet, I'm Jonas Erb, and on this channel we talk about authenticity and personal growth. We provide tools and ideas that help you gain clarity, freedom and fulfillment in your life. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing just down here. And I wanted to announce that our free spots open for a 30-minute coaching call with me for the Embodied Authenticity coaching, helping you to let go of your mental and emotional blocks for you to achieve your authentic goals within 6 months. So wait until the end of the video for the announcement on how to enroll for that. So how can you share how you're feeling from a sharing perspective really authentically and vulnerably rather than projecting onto the other person? What happens when you project onto the other person? So the important thing to understand is when you are expecting anything in return from the other person when you're saying how you feel, then you're not actually sharing it just from a sharing perspective such that you and the other person understand each other better, but you're actually trying to use your emotion kind of like a weapon so you can get something from the other person. And emotions are like very powerful weapons, because if you tell someone it made you feel really sad or it made you feel really jealous or really angry or really hurt, especially if you say like it hurt me and felt me really hurt, that is going to make the other person kind of, like feel guilty or feel whatever. And so it's a very powerful weapon. But in the end, if you're not actually sharing how you're feeling from a sharing perspective, the other person is going to feel that there's something off and you're actually not doing that out of genuine wanting to connect more deeply and wanting to understand each other, but you have some agenda. And so when you're doing that, it's not going to go well, because you're not openly talking about what you want. You're subconsciously like implying that the other person should do something differently. Because you say like, this is how it makes me feel and you are responsible for how I feel, so you shouldn't do that. That's the implication there. And so what you really have to understand is when you share from a sharing perspective, really wanting to connect with the other person, letting the other person know your truth, what's going on inside of yourself, the other person has the possibility to really connect more deeply and understand you better. And therefore, whatever you're trying to get from the other person is actually much more likely to do whatever you feel you would wish from the other person. But it's really about learning to share what is going on inside of yourself without projecting and wanting something from the other person. Because if you do that, then you leave the other person the freedom, and the other person feels actually heard and appreciated, in the sense that you are just sharing and wanting the other person to have like a deeper understanding of you so you can connect more deeply. So let's take some examples for you to really understand what I'm talking about. Let's say the other person does something that makes you feel really angry or really sad or maybe jealous or maybe very hurt. And so that situation triggered this in you. And when you say to the other person, hey, this is like in that situation when you did this action, that action, it actually made me feel very hurt. I felt really hurt. I felt really not understood. I didn't feel appreciated, and it really felt, it was kind of dense for me, difficult for me. And I wanted to share this for you to understand each other better. And I would love to talk about how we could maybe in the future have different, handle the situation differently. So that is one example that you could use to share something really from how it makes you feel, and try to really feel the feeling and kind of share it vulnerably, saying like, if you're sad, don't say like super happy, like, yeah, I was really sad, but without connecting to the feeling. Like if you're just talking neutrally about your feelings, but you're not actually sharing them from, just a little bit, with a little bit of feeling behind it, then the other person is not going to be able to connect that much to what is really going on inside of yourself. But also try not to like fall into the emotion and just like acting out of the sadness, like, I am so sad that this happened, and kind of like dramatizing it. It's just the other person can feel that there was something going on inside of yourself, that something was triggered. You can feel it if you're connecting with the emotion, but you're not like trying to like be the victim of this emotion, like making a drama out of it. It's just you wanting to share, wanting the other person to feel how you're feeling, just so the other person can understand you better and you can connect better. But on the other hand, if you're sharing this saying that when you acted like this in this situation, you made me feel this way, and you really shouldn't do this kind of action because this is, you know, like you shouldn't make people feel sad, you shouldn't make people feel hurt, and it's just a really bad behavior. Why did you do that? So kind of like blaming the other person for how you're feeling and putting the responsibility for how you're feeling onto the other person, saying that the other person is responsible for what you were feeling, and so the other person should do something different, and the other person is bad for having done whatever this person has done. This is one example of how you're projecting onto the other person. And it's really important to understand that the other person can never ever be responsible for how you feel. Because the other person, how would the other person know how you're gonna feel? Maybe it has some idea of what it could trigger in you, but it's impossible to know what is gonna happen inside of yourself. And the other person can actually not change how you feel. The only person that can change how you feel is yourself. So if you take full responsibility for how you're feeling, you don't have to project on the other person, because you know the other person is not responsible. You are responsible for how you're feeling, and you're responsible for how you're dealing with it. You can learn like to let go of this emotion. I will link another video that you can check out where you can learn how to let go of emotions that are triggered. But it's your responsibility to deal with whatever is coming up, and it's your responsibility if you want to be in that situation, or if you want to let go of this with the emotions, whatever you're doing with you know, with your inner world. It's only your responsibility. So when you're projecting onto the other person, you try to like have them do something which is impossible for them. And so if you're trying to project onto the other person and make them do something for you by using your emotion as a weapon, then the other person is going to feel that, you know, that you something off, and they're much less likely to actually act different in the situation. Let's say the other person didn't have the intention to hurt you, and, you know, did this or did that, and did it because this other person felt like it was the right thing to do for them, and then you were hurt, and you were saying that, kind of like projecting onto the other person that this other person did something intentionally bad, and kind of blaming the other person, then the other person is going to be very resentful or resist to act differently, because it says like, I did the right thing, so I'm going to do the exactly the same thing the next time, because why do you want to tell me what I have to do? It's kind of like all the resistance, all this kind of stuff, this comes up because the subconscious implication is there that the other person is responsible for how you feel. But if you're just sharing how you're feeling, the other person can change her behavior or his behavior, or not change it, but it has more of an understanding of you. And the other person is thus going to be more likely to actually want to communicate more with you, go deeper with you, and probably act differently in the same situation. So that's really what I wanted to say. Like, when you share from this sharing perspective, you're connecting more deeply with the other person, you understand each other better, and you go deeper with each other. And when you're basically using your emotions as a weapon and trying to get something from the other person by sharing how you feel, then you're disconnecting with the other person, and the other person is less likely, you know, to go deeper with you and actually act according to what you would wish to happen. So let me know what happens when you try this, and let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to see more of those videos. And turn on the notifications bell so you will be notified when new videos are going to come out. And if you want to sign up for the half-an-hour coaching consultation, the free coaching call, you can sign up in the link in the description, so we can talk about how you can let go of mental and emotional blocks so you can achieve your authentic goals in 6 months. So have a great day and watch some more of my videos. This one is the one that YouTube thinks you would like the most, and this one is my most recent video. So have fun watching and have a great day. Goodbye, everyone.